This is Sophie Dawson from sophiedawson.com, and this is episode 184 of the Sophie Art Podcast, which is a little podcast that I do about the art and things. And this is another one. I don't know what this one's going to be about, but I don't know whether you will, but you might be able to hear the sound of my trolley, because I'm actually wheeling a little trolley with me today, because I'm going off to pick up some books. Somebody's giving away some books, and there's a couple of manga books in there, video game manga books from the Kingdom Hearts series. So I'm off to get those books, and I thought, well, hopefully it's not too noisy at the minute, but if you're watching on YouTube at youtube.com/Sophie Lawson, you'll be able to see me walking a little bit of the way, because what I'm going to do is, it will get a lot quieter in a minute because I'm about to walk into the woods. So what I do is, when I get into the woods, it'll be like this, nice and peaceful. You can see the woods in the distance. It's cool. I like the way. What I like about Plymouth, which is where I live, is you have a city right on top of a lot of nature. So you get this nice balance of. It's very. You can sort of jump between worlds, really, because I do feel like. You've got the nature world, which is very peaceful, but you've also got the human world, which I think is a bit noisy. It's a lot noisy, actually. There's a little man down here making a little barrier. It's cool, it is. About to go past him. Boing. Thank you. And now we get close to the woods. So lilDENNiS isn't with us today. He's at home. And last week he did a dump and doodle, which I thought was cool. Somebody said that I should rethink the title, because they thought, well, that's why I did it though, because I thought it's quite funny. Because when I think of dumping, I think of like sitting on the toilet having a poo. So I thought the visual of dump and doodle is somebody sitting on the toilet doodling, and I find that quite funny for some reason. But really, the dumping is the brain dump. I feel like this is another brain dump episode. It's amazing to me how noisy it is. Walking on the roads and stuff. You can already hear the birds though, tweeting away. Oh, I walked past my old house this morning. So when I go to work in the morning, there's multiple ways I can get to work. The quickest way, is it the quickest? I'm not sure. I'd say I think it might be the quickest, but the quickest way is past my old house. But I tend to go the other way, because the other way you go straight down this big long hill. But what happened was I walked past my old house, and just as I got there, there's a van there unloading a new oven and loaded like kitchen tiles. And just as I walked past the door, he was putting, because what they did was when we all moved out, they installed like a key, security key thing. So this bloke was putting the security key in, and I thought to myself, wow, look, they've changed it all. They've changed the old house. But then what happened was, he opened the door, he put his code in, the door opened, and as he opened the door, it made the same sound I remember. Little doggies. Doggies. So what happened with that door was, the door never really fitted the frame. Especially when the weather was hot or wet. I like the sound of running water as well. So what happened was he opened the door, and because the door wasn't flush with the frame, you had to sort of like push it a bit, and as you pushed it, the door knocker would sort of come forward and backwards, and it would like hit the door. So the door always made this funny sound. And what happened was he put his number in, opened the door, and the door made that same funny sound. And it was like a moment of sort of reminiscing. I know it's a bit weird, but I thought it's a bit weird that they've changed everything, but it's still the same. And I started thinking about that. When they destroy the place, because I imagine they're going to completely renovate it. I thought to myself, you'll probably walk in there, it will look completely different, but it will still look the same. I do miss that house a little bit. What I miss most is Funny the cat. She was cool. I was thinking about her this morning as well. I can't remember why. I was thinking about her when I was at home before I went to work. I wonder what it was. So the reason I'm recording this podcast now is because it's now or never. Because tomorrow, Saturday, podcast has got to go up on the Sunday. Saturday, me and my mum's going out, so I can't do it tomorrow. Today's Friday, I'm going out to get these books, so I won't have enough time when I get in. Sunday, me and mum's going out as well, but it has to be up on Sunday. And then all this week we've been so busy, coming in and out. I'll tell you what I got yesterday, just about to go to bed and somebody messaged me. I got a load of vintage board games. Well, not a load, 3 of them. Vintage board games. They're complete for free. And then what I got earlier in the day was, how many was it? I think it was 8 PC games. Again, for free. So the only thing is, they're free in terms of money, but it costs you a little bit in time because you have to go and get them. But I did a podcast about that once. For me, everything is about time or money. In other words, if you're saving money, I feel like you're spending time. If you're saving time, you're spending money. So it's like, the way I look at that is, if you're running a business, like an artist, a lot of artists, when they're doing their marketing or something, like I know Jake Parker, he's got a little assistant who does all his stuff for him, but I'm not sure if he pays them, but I know a lot of artists pay for an assistant. So what happens there is, you're saving a lot of time because the assistant is doing all the things you don't want to do, but you're spending money for the assistant, but you can save yourself money by not having an assistant and doing it yourself, but then you're going to be spending loads of time. So I feel like really, I thought about this quite a lot. No matter what it is, it all comes down to a balance between time and money. That's what I've noticed. So what I'm doing today I'm going off to pick these books up. It's costing me time. But what I thought was, I'm going to multitask. So one, I'm recording a podcast. So I've not really lost time there because I'm doing what I would have done anyway. So I've saved myself a little bit of time there, really. And the other thing is, what's the other thing? There's something else as well. Oh yeah, I'm going to be listening to podcasts in a minute. Once I've stopped doing this podcast myself, I'm going to catch up on some of my podcasts. So even though I'm spending a couple of hours walking around to get these books, I'm still going to be listening to podcasts, like consuming wisdom and stuff. So I like that. It was quite cool. This little car park, I'm just walking past a car park. That's where we have the car boot sales, or one of them on a Sunday. Oh, something really funny happened 2-3 weeks ago now. Me and my mum are going to these car boot sales on Sundays. What happened was, this is cool, this is. So one of these car boot sales is about an hour's walk away, and it opens at about between 8 and past. So we had to leave about 7 to get there. So we left at 7 in the morning on a Sunday. We walked all the way over there. Just as we got there, I said to Mum, wouldn't it be funny if we get there and there's nothing there? Guess what happened? We got there was nothing there. Which I didn't really, it didn't bother me that much. All I did was, as soon as I realised there was nothing there, I instantly thought, right, what are we going to do now? So what it was there's another one. There's another car boot sale at, I hope the wind isn't too noisy. There's another car boot sale at 10 o'clock. So what I did was just walk back, walked all the way home, walked to this other one, picked up a few little things. So it wasn't wasted. But what it turns out is, I'm out of breath. Walking up the big hills. I'm right outside Plymouth Argyle Football Club. Plymouth Argyle. I went there once. When was it? 1994. No, 1996. It was 96 or 97. It was the year that they got promoted into, I think it was the first division. I'm not massively into football, but I got really into that. I went with my friend Ian Rose. Ian Rose, he was like mad into football, so I used to go to watch football with him. What happened was, we were watching Argyle, they got promoted, and when the final whistle went, we all just jumped onto the pitch. It's brilliant. Now what's funny is, what happened was, when you watch the news and stuff, they were doing replays of everything. You actually saw us running onto the pitch. It was cool. My sister's got into football as well, because she's going out with this bloke, her husband. He loves football. She's got into football. It's quite weird actually how football, it's quite it can get into you, really. I think what it is really is just sport. Sport is it's exciting. Sport's brilliant, it is. Yeah, my favourite sport is Formula 1. I love Formula 1. I've loved Formula 1 since 1994. For me, I was into Formula 1 and everyone else at school was into football. Actually, I had one friend. What was his friend? Peter, what was he called? No, Philip, I think. Philip. Philip something. He's into Formula 1 as well, and that's what bonded us. Was we were the only ones at school into Formula 1. Everyone else was into football. But what he did was, my favourite driver was David Coulthard. There's a skate park around here somewhere. So what he did was he drew me a drawing of David Coulthard. I don't think I've got it anymore. Oh, I should have kept that. It was a big one as well. That's what she said. But he did me this little drawing. He was always drawing things. He was. I feel like he was probably what inspired me to start drawing Formula 1 cars. Because I went through a little phase in the 90s of drawing Formula 1 cars. I've still got those drawings. The only reason I got rid of Philip, he had a very strange second name, Philip Skostard or something. Philip Swatch, can't remember. But he did a drawing on I think it was A2. It was massive, so I couldn't keep it. I didn't have any space for it. And I only threw it out about 5 or 10 years ago. When I had a big clear out. Oh, I'll tell you what's funny. I'm all about minimalism. At the moment, if you saw my room, it's like it's like a hoarder's paradise. Like a hoarder's paradise it is. Full of loads of... I'll tell you what they got at the second-hand shop. Video games, 3 for £1. How cool is that? So I've raided through all those, got all the best ones. But there are bargains out there. It costs a lot of time to catch all these little things. Just walking past the skate park, the place where I used to live, because I used to live in a house share, there's about 6 of us. One of the blokes called Dan, he used to come down here all the time on his bike. And he had this BMX bike, it didn't have any brakes. And he said he used to go bombing down. That hill that I walk to work on is a massive, long hill. It's massive, it is. When you're walking up it, it's quite tiring. But going down it's brilliant, especially on a bike. But he would go down this massive hill on a bike with no brakes. And he said he'd go straight through the traffic lights and everything. Felt like he was mental. He enjoyed himself there. He was cool, he was. He's the one that got me some DMT. No, he wasn't. He's the one that helped me. But he was the one that got me the DMT. Back into the busy roads now. I think I'm going to end this one here. So this little podcast was just a little podcast about... Actually, I'm going to go this way. I'll walk up the other way. There's about 5 roads you've got to cross here. But I feel like it's going to be a lot noisier from now on, so I'm going to end this one here. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Little tiny one. How long has it been going on? 19 minutes. Well, I hope you enjoyed it. All that's left is this week's inspirational quote. What I'm going to do on this one, I'm going to do nothing. So this week's inspirational quote is going to be silence. Oh, yesterday I got the latest issue of Character Design Quarterly magazine. Popped through my door, but I haven't actually recorded it yet. That's something else I've got to do. So hopefully I'm going to do that on Monday, and I'll post it on Monday as well. So hopefully it'll be up on the YouTube tomorrow when you listen to this podcast. But that's all that's left for this one. I hope you enjoyed this, and this week's inspirational quote is going to be the sound of the world.